You saw they're bringing back King of the Hill?
Yes, I did.
I like that. There's a lot of reboots that I don't care too much about, but I like King of the Hill. F in English. Bobby, you know English. You speak English. Boy, who thought Mike Judge was going to be as busy as he's been over the past few years? Rebooted Beavis and Butthead right after Silicon Valley wrapped. And now they're going back to King of the Hill. And the word is they got the whole
Original
fam
cast.
damly back together. I mean, Pam Adlon's not really doing anything anymore. I wonder if
But what's her
they'll
face
age any of the
passed away.
characters. Kathy and Jimmy?
No. It wasn't, who did the voice of the niece?
Oh, Brittany Murphy was Luann.
Luann, yeah.
You're right. Mike Judge will be back as Hank Hill. Kathy Najimy will return as Peggy. Poundcake knows who Kathy Najimy is, and who's getting a winner, but he knows who she is because of the film.
I mean, do you want me to answer for him?
Pocus.
Hocus Pocus, yeah.
Stephen Root is Bill. Pam Adlon does Bobby Hill's voice. Johnny Hardwick is Dale. Is Dale the... No, that's not Boomhauer. Mike Judge is Boomhauer.
Yeah.
No, damn. And an actress named Lauren Tom is in this as well. So I guess Greg Daniels, who co-created it with Mike Judge, the two of them kind of reconnected a few years ago in San Francisco, and people were like, hey, you guys should... So I guess it was just a matter of waiting to see who was going to pony up the cash, and it has turned out to be Hulu. And so King of the Hill has been ordered by Hulu. Futurama has also been ordered by Hulu. I think Hulu and Disney now are a thing. You see, everybody's merging, but it's bloody now at these streamers because they have to look. It's very, very frustrating for the creators now because in the early days of streamers, everybody was angling for position. And for a while, it was just Netflix. And a couple of other, as more and more popped up, is every network needed to have their own streaming service and original content and blah, blah, blah. The whole thing blew up. And now you're seeing all these mergers. With the mergers, they have to do huge cuts. Like there was a show I liked on Hulu called Reboot. It was Keegan-Michael Key. It was Judy Greer. It was Johnny Knoxville, who was dynamite in this show. And the premise of the show was that Paul Reiser was the writer on the show, in the show. Did anybody watch Reboot?
No, I didn't watch
The premise
this
of Reboot is that they were taking like this Full House type show from the 80s and rebooting that show. And all the actors are older and the little kid in it is all grown up. And it was a very funny show. The people behind it were the dudes that wrote Modern Family, which I thought was a very well-written show. Steve Levitan was the guy to Reboot. And a lot of times when these new, especially when you have a cast like that, they will immediately give them a 2-season order. They give them 2 seasons. Well, now they'll give them 2 seasons, but then they'll cancel them after 1. I don't know if that implies you got to pay these people out. I don't know. I follow Johnny Knoxville on social media, and he was very upset that this happened because he's like, hey, the numbers on the streamer were good and whatever, but these companies are all swinging the axe now. It's bloodless. So I think that's why they go, well, what's a show from a long time ago that people liked? All the content that goes on Disney Plus, the Marvel, the Star Wars, all of it, people are watching Disney Plus to watch The Simpsons. Far and away, that's what gets most of the eyeballs on Disney Plus is Simpsons reruns. And so when these companies go, well, it's like broadcast television. For a long time, they were like, yeah, we could put your new show on, or we could just sell the crap out of Seinfeld reruns. And for a long time, that's what they did. They were like, I can put on an old Seinfeld, and it'll do 10 times better than local news, for one thing.
Yeah, I mean,
that's local news getting canceled in favor of Seinfeld reruns.
That's what killed everything on Comedy Central was no matter what they... Other than South Park and maybe Tosh.0 and The Daily Show, anything else they put on would get crushed by a rerun of The Office. So they're like, why are we spending all this money to make this content when we can just put on The Office and make money that way?
Right. You spend a ton of money to get one massive show. So I guess they go, well, let's just bring back Futurama. I never got into Futurama. Maybe I'll go back and try. I don't know. So Hulu, in the U.S., it'll be on Hulu. It'll be on Disney Plus globally. But if you're a Futurama fan, that show's coming back with the whole cast. So they're just going, hey, what's a show we could bring back that people like? Futurama. You know, they re-signed The Simpsons for 2 more years, and Bob's Burgers, and all these other shows.
Just want to be a voice on a show like that.
Dude, right? You're set for life.
Well, you definitely don't have to worry about, again, I still think 12, 13 seasons in, those Bob's Burgers people are not getting like crazy paid. They're not getting Simpsons money.
No, they're not getting Simpsons money.
But you're making the kind of money where you're like, I mean, you know, I don't want to look at Kristen Schaal, but she's funny and everything. So that's a good move, you know. Eugene Merman wasn't taking the world by storm. Now he's like, I don't care. I can pay all my bills. I can have a great life, go on stage and dick around whenever I want and
People
not worry about anything.
You.
Right. John Benjamin had Bob's Burgers and Archer for like 12, 13 years. He couldn't get anything going for a long time. Gets these 2 cartoons. He's in good shape.
I have a friend who's a voice actor in LA, and her and I went to dinner one night. She came to my show, and she was saying how, like, at least what she was telling me in the voice acting community, that it's like you want to get on a cartoon. Like, if you can get on a children's cartoon, you are literally set for life. Like My Little Pony or something like that. If you can land a voice acting job on a show like that, you're paid like crazy money.
Changed Harlan Williams' entire career was when he got Puppy Dog Pals to do a few seasons. I don't even know if that's still on. But
it is. He created it.
He created it.
It's all him.
So it's not only is he the creator, he does the voice on it. So like that, you're just printing money in that case.
Yeah.
Let me print you $1,000 right now. Chance to go fund yourself. Maybe you don't have the kind of voice that could get you into the cartoon biz. Here's $1,000 for you. Listen closely and good luck.
The Buzzard wants you to go fund yourself and score $1,000. Enter the nationwide keyword check at WMMS.com. That's check. Enter it now at WMMS.com. And good luck from Buzzard Radio.
It's funny, I was reading an article called Subtitle Nation about how we're all watching things with subtitles now.
I'm not.
I don't do it on purpose.
I found myself doing this because they were like, are the actors mumbling? Are they bad? Do you have bad speakers at home? Are the listeners just getting lazy? My initial thought was there's a lot of people that just have a TV on, but they're kind of looking up from their phones, like you're doing something else, and the subtitles can kind of keep you. For me, it's just there's a lot of shows now where I can't tell what the hell they're saying. And so I put the subtitles on. It takes a little bit to get used to because it is annoying because like it can throw the timing off. You don't want to watch a comedy with subtitles because nothing will land if you see it coming. But I find myself watching a lot of shows with subtitles.
I don't do it on purpose, though. Like, I feel like Netflix adds it in automatically, and you have to go into the settings and take it off. Because there have been times I've turned on a show, and I'm like, hey, when did those subtitles get there? Or like the closed captions or whatever. And I'm like, I didn't do that. But I'm too lazy or I don't know how to take them off, so I just leave them there.
Well, also, a lot of these streamers, it's like any other streaming service for audio. It's so compressed that it sounds kind of weird. And so they do that for video, too. But you have, like, these streamers will all brag about, like, their audio tracks and, like, surround and all this stuff. Most people don't have that kind of setup where that sound is going to make any difference. Most people aren't working with, like, theater-quality audio equipment. And so it doesn't sound right anyway. But there are some shows, I think with the proliferation of a lot of foreign language shows, I don't mean like subtitled in English, just accents. There are shows I like, but the accents are so goddamn thick, I have to have the subtitles on because I can't tell what they're saying otherwise.
Righto, aren't you going to go out and
Yes.
have a little fun, isn't it?
Yeah. God, what was I just watching? I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what they're saying here. Because part of it's, if it's like a zombie type show or something, I got back into Black Summer. If it's a zombie type show, they're mumbling and whispering half the time. And I was watching Counterpart, and it's partially they're in Berlin, but they're British actors, and I'm like, I have to have this subtitled.
I was watching Kaleidoscope on the plane, and so I had the subtitles on for that because it's just so loud in there. Even with headphones on, you can lose what they're saying. But I generally don't like, even though I have to use them. Like, I hate posting this, like, the clips with subtitles for stand-up in this show. I hate them. I was like, just turn your sound on. I understand that people, because the delivery is what's usually makes it funny.
Oh, yeah, right.
So
like what I was saying, nothing can land if you're, right. For comedy, yes.
Yeah, for comedy for sure. But there
but
are
they
times
say,
where
like,
I need to go back.
People sit there with their volume off and they're still scrolling.
I do it too. I mean, I understand the necessity of it, but if I'm watching something on TV, I pay too much attention to the subtitles that I lose what's going on the screen.
We were watching something with subtitles the other day, and I asked Brian, I was like, how long is this movie? And he was like, I don't know, probably 2 hours. Why? I was like, I feel like we've been watching it for an hour and a half. We've been watching it for like 15 minutes. And I was like, all this reading.
You're reading, yeah.
Taking so long.
I'm watching TV, so I don't have to read.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's why, like, if there's a foreign movie where it's subtitled in English, Gwen won't watch it with me. She's like, I don't want to read when I'm watching television.
Some Korean horror film.
Like Squid Game, that was that. And,
you probably
I just watched the dubbed version.
You watched the dubbed one?
I watched the dubbed one because, one, I thought the dubbed one made it funnier.
It's not a funny show.
I know, but it does make it funny when they have these weird dubs and it's just not matching up. It makes it kind of funny.
Everything can be improved by making it a little bit funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Netflix, just them, they said that about 45% of their regular viewers use subtitles all the time. But what I like about subtitles is all of these subtitles that have nothing to do with dialogue. Just like, basically like the equivalent of stage directions. So it'll say like, ominous music.
Yeah.
Or urinating forcefully. I saw urinating forcefully on something.
That sounds more like a Dom title.
It was pretty good.
It's good.
Pretty good over there on Netflix. What is she doing? I mean, from the looks of this, I can't tell what that sound is. Is she urinating forcefully? A lot of people watched The White Lotus with subtitles. You know, sometimes you'll watch a movie in the theater, and then you'll go home and you'll watch it again with the subtitles. I got to pick up on, I saw Barbarian, but I don't know what happened.
If you want to watch Tenet, turn the subtitles on.
Yes.
That is the mumbliest movie.
I watched Tenet on the plane back from Denver or Mexico or something, and I was like, even without the subtitles, the audio is so low and the mix is so weird. It was like I had to crank my headphones, and I could still barely tell what was going on.
Right, and then when it gets to an action part, it's so goddamn loud, you're getting blown out. It's Nolan's notorious for that.
But also what doesn't help is, because you're watching with subtitles because you can't tell what they're saying, is that when the subtitle says, speaking indistinctly.
Yeah.
Right.
That doesn't help me.
Got a lot of that.
Hey, Victoria.
Good afternoon.
Named after the lake, I presume.
Pardon?
Named after the lake, I presume.
Or the falls, or I don't know.
There you go. All right.
But I've taken crap my whole life about that name.
It's a lovely name. Who people gave you crap for the name Victoria?
Well, it's like when I was younger, it was, the Queen. And then when Victoria's Secret came out, guys just thought it was like the best pickup line. So what's your secret?
Ugh,
you know?
gross.
And it's like, yeah, exactly.
But what is your secret?
Yeah.
Have you ever killed anybody? I don't count abortions.
But anyway, my husband and I both have not been able to hear stuff on TV for ages. I mean, it's just been, and I just figured we're old, we just ain't hearing stuff right. And I'll have to put the stuff on, go back, find out what they said. And between that and background noises like the tinkling ice in a restaurant, and just, it's almost, it's hard to watch stuff sometimes.
Right, I understand. Well, all right.
I'm glad it's not just me.
No, it's not just you, Victoria. It's the rest of us peasants out here who are operating in your shadow. All right, well, thank you for the call, Your Majesty.
How large is the font on this?
You have to put up big subtitle font on the TV, Victoria, too? Or you just got to take what they give you?
No, I don't. I do have the big stuff on my text though, so I don't have to put my glasses on. But no, I don't need. That's far away, so I can see it okay.
Got that 18-point font on the cell phone. Okay, thank you, Victoria. I appreciate the call. There's Victoria.
I like Victoria.
Out in Northfield. I didn't want to ask her how old she was. She implied that she and her husband do it, and then I wanted to ask her if maybe they ever watched couples pornography with subtitles on, but I also didn't want to send her down a weird road there either. She called in good faith.
The right amount of wet noises.
Spurting indistinctly is what the subtitle said. Moist noises.
Just
groaning.
Macaroni in a pot.
Right. Macaroni in a pot. Yeah. I watched on one of the websites where like movies get leaked before they're in theaters or whatever. There's this super lo-fi movie called Skinamarink that everybody's talking about. It's basically like a Gen Z Blair Witch, but it's super, super low budge and super lo-fi about these two kids who wake up and their dad is gone and the house that they're in is slowly, the doors and windows are disappearing. And so there's almost no dialogue. It is required that you watch it with subtitles because the audio mix is so strange and it's these two little kids and there's a lot of whispering. And so the bulk of that movie is things that have nothing to do with dialogue because there barely is any. So it's moaning in the background, or, strange, indistinct noise. But we're all living in subtitle nation, according to Victoria. And by decree, I assume, is what she's talking about. She and her prince consort out there in Northfield Park. I got to take a break. If you want to text for anything, 35192 to get me there. AlanCoxShow.com if you want to watch live. And you can listen wherever on that iHeartRadio app.
Rover's Morning Glory.
It's true. Doogie hasn't been laid in 7 years. She makes every excuse, but she could find a guy in 2 seconds.
She has access to like the largest